right, everybody. Welcome back to the Double Overtime Podcast. I'm Jack Weisberg. Alongside me, Aidan Michaels. Today, we are going over the AFC conference of the NFL, going over each team. We got 30 seconds each team, and we're going to get right into it. So, we're going to start off with the Jets. I think the Jets can be 10-7. There's a lot of unknowns, concerns. You got Aaron Rodgers coming back off his injury. But I think it's a no-brainer that if he's healthy, they're a playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, do you remember the hype that the Jets got at the beginning of last season because of Aaron Rodgers, and then he gets hurt on that first snap? People are saying, I don't know who, but people are saying that he's looking really, really good, even though he is 40 and obviously coming off that Achilles tear, but he is looking really good. And the hype that we had last year about the Jets, we can now carry it over to this year.
Well said. Then we got the Dolphins. I have them going 11-6. Yeah, I mean, Tua looks like a new person. I've always have had confidence in this offense. You got so many weapons, so much speed. Um, and I think that the offense alone is enough to go to the conference championship if healthy. But it all comes down to can Tua handle the pressure?
Hey, you said it. They have a lot of weapons. Tua and Tyreek together is lethal. Raheem the Dream, the running back, but don't forget about Jalen Waddle. And what about my main man, Odell Beckham Jr.? Do we forget about that guy? I know it's not 2015, 2016 anymore, but he's there.
I have to admit, I completely forgot that he was on the Dolphins.
I did too a little bit. I'm thinking he's still in Baltimore. I don't really know where he's at, but Miami.
All right, let's move on. Patriots. I have them going 4-13. I mean, they always find a way to win games, right? But Belichick's not there. So they're not going to be winning games. You can't count on that. This is an absolute dumpster fire. I think putting their rookie Drake May out there is just going to be it's going to be chaos. I think he's going to be getting sacked probably twice every 4 downs.
Listen, Drake May's a good quarterback, but he is not going to change the franchise at all. Definitely not that quickly. I think the Patriots will be last in the division, and I also think they have a pretty good chance of being the worst in the AFC, potentially even the worst in the NFL. Maybe that's stretching it a little too far, but the Patriots will be at the very bottom.
Potentially, for sure. Moving on, we got the Bills. I got them going 9-8. They have a really tough schedule. There's a lot of questions about the offense. You got some receivers, Curtis Samuel. You got your rookie Keon Coleman, but is that enough? We know Dalton Kincaid is going to do well. We know the running back is going to do well as well. It's just a question of can Josh Allen win games down the stretch? James Cook, the running back, he's going to be a fantasy beast.
I believe I have him on my fantasy team as well. I could be wrong. Maybe I don't. I think I do.
I'm pretty sure I told you to get up. Yeah.
You did. You told me to get everybody that I have. No, you mentioned Curtis Samuel, and then obviously the rookie out of Florida State, Keon Coleman. Uh, you lose Stephon Diggs. He's gone to the Texans, a team we'll talk about later, obviously, but that puts the Bills down. I think obviously they're still going to make the playoffs out with the Dolphins, I think. It's Josh Allen. He's got to carry Buffalo. The question is, where is he going to carry them to?
So that's the AFC East. Moving on, AFC North. We're gonna start with the Ravens. I, I have them going 13-4, and as we both know, the key is health, and the sky is the limit with a guy like Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews and the star talent that they have. Not saying Zay Flowers is by any means a star, but this is the best Ravens team we've seen. It's going to be absolutely scary, and I think they can reach the Super Bowl.
I hope they do. I was really rooting for them last year. The defense got a little bit worse. Clowney left. The Ravens are going to be running their way to victory. Like you said, Lamar Jackson, probably the best rushing QB in the league. Is that fair to say? I think that's fair to say. Why don't you add another unbelievable running back, Derrick Henry, who I think led the NFL in most yards per rush after contact. I read something like that. And you understand why. He's a beast and he can get through anybody. Those two are going to combine for some serious rushing yards, and the Ravens will do very well, and they will win the AFC North.
Henry did that with limited snaps last year as well. Let's
Yeah.
move on. We got the Bengals. I got them going 10-7. Very similar to the Ravens. The key is health. Joe Burrow's coming off a huge injury, but when you have a guy like Joe Burrow, a guy like Jamar Chase, anything can happen. We saw that when they went to the Super Bowl. And if you can get Higgins rolling, it's going to be scary. So, and we've seen this offense be a 400 yard a game offense, which is premier. So, and defense is okay. It's good enough. 10-7.
Cincy's a tough one for me. First of all, you got Von Bell coming back after he took a little gap year in Carolina. He's back in Cincy. The same people that are saying Aaron Rodgers is looking better than ever are the same people saying that Joe Burrow is back and better than ever. So watch out for him. He's going to be a game changer. He always is when he's healthy. But you lose Joe Mixon, he's out, and then Jamar Chase, who hasn't reached a deal yet with the Bengals, says he might not even play in Week 1, which can cause some serious problems for Cincinnati. Seems like it's a little bit of a mess over there, a lot of drama. But if they can lock up Chase and Burrow's back and ready to play, they're going to be golden. Not golden because the Ravens will still be there, but they will be good.
Moving on to the Browns. I got them at 8-9. We all know this defense is top 5 in the league, no doubt. But when you have a guy like Deshaun Watson at quarterback, I fear that that's going to be what holds them back. But if they can keep games low scoring, I think it will work to their benefit. But again, I have them at 8-9.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the defense has been pretty great. Myles Garrett, obviously, the defensive player of the year. They allowed the fewest yards in the NFL last season. They're going to be a great defense. But like you said, Deshaun Watson, first of all, he's coming off an injury. This is a very inconsistent version of Deshaun Watson. We're not going to see the old Watson that was, a star in this league. We're not going to see that. Nick Chubb obviously had that gruesome injury last year. They said he could return by week 4 or 5. That could be a game changer. The question is, obviously, we really hope this doesn't happen, but we see a lot of the times players come back too quickly and they re-injure themselves. Definitely somebody to keep an eye out. So you got a quarterback coming off an injury, and then you got Chubb coming back after a pretty bad injury.
Moving on. We got the Steelers 10-7. We all know the defense is going to be good. We all know the talent on the defense, but is it enough to win games? No. Is Wilson going to hold them back? Absolutely. I think with Justin Fields, I think that they would be able to win more than 7 games, but that's not the case. So on offense, we'll see if Pickens can become a true number one receiver. And this team's interesting.
Yeah, I don't love when teams kind of have to decide between their two quarterbacks. Fields and Wilson, obviously two really good quarterbacks. You've got the veteran, and then you've got, I don't want to say not the rookie, but obviously younger player. Wilson's going to be their guy, but I wouldn't be surprised if Fields ends up taking over if the Steelers lose a few games in a row. They added some good defensive players. They added, I think, 3 or 4 decent defensive players. So they've gotten better, but it's just not going to be enough. Not going to be enough. It's going to be a mid-season for them.
So let's move on to the AFC South. We'll start with the Jags. I have them at 11-6, and they're coming back with a vengeance. They lost by a touchdown to the Chiefs in the playoffs, and this team is strong. It really is on all levels, but I just don't think it's quite enough to beat the top contenders deep in the playoffs.
No, and listen, injuries again. Christian Kirk and Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you got your top receiver and obviously your starting QB. Christian Kirk missed the last 5 games of the season with an injury. Trevor Lawrence was out dealing with some injuries. Lawrence is back and ready. Kirk is expected to play in week 1. Some sources are saying he's definitely going to play. Other sources are saying he's questionable. So we don't know for sure. But if they're healthy, we'll see what can happen. I haven't really seen enough of those two yet to really give a real opinion on it.
Moving on to the Titans. I got them at 3-14. To put it bluntly, they suck. I do think this offense is going to move the ball with a guy like D-Hop. You got Levis who can really sling it. You brought in Calvin Ridley. I do think they're going to move the ball, but I don't think it's enough to win. I think this defense sucks.
Listen, if only Tony Pollard decided to just stay in Dallas, then he would have been golden. He would have been playing playoff football next year, but he's not, or this year, I should say, but he's not. That's on him. No one really sticks out for me. They again, they got Pollard in the offseason. They got Sneed, L'Jarius Sneed on the offseason. They've got somebody got this in our fantasy league, Woozy. I forget who got him, but they've got some decent players. But it's the Titans. There's no point of even us saying, "Oh, it's going to be a bad season," because we know it's not going to be a good season for them. Let's just let's get that out of the way.
I did forget about the addition of Tony Pollard.
Yeah,
I might add, which you might say is nothing as a Cowboys fan, but
come home.
I think they're going to win more than 3 games after hearing that. All
Okay.
right, Colts. I got
Yeah.
them at 5-12. Again, injuries. Richardson could not stay healthy. I think he got injured in like the third or fourth game last year. Um, can he stay healthy? Can Jonathan Taylor stay healthy? Um, Michael Pittman's a dog. Defense is good. Gus Bradley's a good coordinator, but um, they could win 8 games, but I don't think they're winning more than that.
No, and listen, Richardson is a phenomenal quarterback, and we haven't really been able to see what he can do in the NFL, but now we will. Um, Hopefully he can play a full season in this league. That would be great. I'm glad he's doing well after a shoulder injury, and obviously I wish the best on Jonathan Taylor, obviously a Wisconsin guy, as am I. So I always try and root for the Badgers in the league, and JT was one of my favorite players before I went to this school, so I love seeing him do well in the NFL.
Moving on, we got the Texans, a team that probably made the most additions this offseason, both offense and defense. Just an absolutely dynamic offense with an unreal quarterback going into a second year. Um, I think they're going to be coming at teams from all angles. I think that when I say that the Bengals could be a 400-yard per game team, this team could be a 500-yard per game team, which I don't know if that's ever been done, but this is a team that's capable of that.
Stephon Diggs, as I mentioned earlier, leaving Buffalo, going to Houston. Again, he should have joined his brother in Dallas, but again, we'll talk about that in the NFC episode. No, no problem. But no, Diggs, and then obviously getting Joe Mixon, that's going to be incredible. And then the quarterback, CJ Stroud, who is phenomenal. He is brilliant. The Texans, I think, are going to win this division. I think that might go without saying. Obviously, some people think the Jaguars are going to get up there, but for me, it's the Texans. Like you said, they made so many good additions in the offseason, and they've got a very, very strong team, very, very skillful team, lots of stars, lots of wins coming their way.
Again, yeah, I do think that they will convincingly win the AFC South. Let's move on. We got the AFC West. Start with the Broncos. I got them at 5-12. Listen, they could win 6 games, but that's about it. They just got Sertan on a new contract, which is good for them. And I just think that Bo Nix is he's a rookie, right? What are you really gonna do with no receivers in your rookie year? He has no receivers. So the ceiling is nothing.
Right. I what I have for this is I say Bo Nix, he's good, but the Broncos suck. It's kind of the same thing as what we were talking about with New England earlier in the video, where I'm saying Drake May is a pretty decent quarterback. Obviously, we got to see what he can do in the NFL, but he's playing for the Patriots. That's the issue. He's not a franchise changer, and that's what I say about Bo Nix. Listen, the last time the Broncos made the playoffs was 9 years ago when they won Super Bowl 50. We watched that together in your house. God, that was a long time ago, but it's it was 9 years ago, and they have not made it to the playoffs since. So the fans are thirsty, but especially in this division, they're not making it. You can extend the streak.
Agreed. All right, let's move on to the Chiefs. Let's get this out of the way. I think they're gonna be 12-5. They do have a tough schedule, but it's spread out pretty nicely for them. It's like 3 game stretches where they got the Lions, Niners, and some other really good prominent teams. They play the Ravens to open up the season. But when it's the Chiefs, anything can happen. They could lose up to 6 games and they're still going to the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
So, that's all I
It
got.
seems like it's going to happen every year. They've won 8 straight division championships. 7 straight. They've gone to 7 straight AFC championships, and then they're looking for their third straight Super Bowl, which the three-peat that puts Mahomes up in the could put him in the GOAT conversation. We're not quite there yet. I don't think that. Don't look at me like I'm saying that's the thing, but he's certainly going to be knocking on the door of the conversation up there with Brady. I will say that. He's got some things to do, but three-peat would really sell it for me. But we're not talking about that right now. They got that kid from UT Austin, Worthy, Marquise Brown. He had, I think he had an injury, so he's recovering a bit. They just need to catch some balls. I also read that the Chiefs led the league in dropped passes last year, which has to piss Mahomes off a whole lot. Regardless of that, we can comfortably say that the Chiefs are going to win the AFC West. They're probably going to go to the AFC Championship, and there's a pretty decent chance they're going to win the Super Bowl. I would give it about a 43% chance they'll make it to the Super Bowl.
And they just dropped Kadarius Toney, which will help with those drop problems.
Wasn't he
Let's
the
move
guy?
on to the Chargers.
Oh yeah, go to the Chargers. Yeah, go to them.
I got them at 8 and 9. Easily be worse. But they got the new coach and Herbert. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here. I'm giving them 8 wins. I'm giving them some tough wins. And I just think that the backfield that they brought in around a not very good receiving core, great quarterback, but the running backs they brought in, the Ravens backfield pretty much just doesn't impress me. Good offensive line, but um, I just feel like the wide receiver core is a huge unknown, and that's going to hold them back.
Yeah, I mean, one thing just about Jim Harbaugh, listen, he's not used to the weather that we have in LA. My cousin Nate saw him at the beach wearing, it was hot, it was during in the summer, wearing jeans and a hoodie. So he really just needs to adjust to the LA weather. And once he does that, I think they'll be fine. Justin Herbert is one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. I absolutely loved him. I don't mind the Chargers. I know we're from LA. You're obviously a Raiders fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. But I like the Chargers. I root for the Chargers a lot, and I really like Justin Herbert. Harbaugh is going to be great. He took the 49ers to 3 straight NFC championships in 4 seasons. He's only been a coach for 4 seasons. So he's done, and don't even get me started on what he's done in college. Listen, the Harbaugh family is just phenomenal coaching family. That's all I have to say. I think you know the stat of Justin Herbert having the most passing yards and the most completed passes by any quarterback in history throughout their first 3 seasons. So you can hate Herbert all you want. I don't know why you're giving me those looks when I mentioned how much I love him, but the Chargers are going to do. They're going to do okay, like you said. I think what did you say, 9 and something, 9-8,
I had them at 8 and 9.
8-9. Fine, I could see it go either way, 9-8, 8-9, whatever. I really like Justin Herbert, and I just don't think he has anybody to throw the ball to. But that's just me.
Agreed. Let's move on to the last team.
The best for last.
Absolutely not least. We got the Las Vegas Raiders. I have them at 9 and 8. They do have one of the hardest schedules in the league. They could pull some upsets with a defense like they have, which is going to be top 7. And they could be in the playoffs with some tough wins. They could find their way in the playoffs. Outrunning a team like the Bills and a team like the Bengals. Those and maybe the Jags are the teams that they're going to be around. But it's how far can this offensive coordinator Luke Getsy take the team? How far can Gardner Minshew take this team? But we do know that this defense is legit.
Yeah, I mean, you guys signed Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby is as much as I give you all this shit. Obviously, a phenomenal player, but you've got Gardner Minshew as your quarterback, and then you have Aidan O'Connell backing him up. It's not gonna get you anywhere. My whole thing is that I know you love the Raiders and you think, okay, they're gonna make it to the playoffs. Don't think they're gonna. You said 9-8. Is that what you said? And you said the Chargers are 8-9. Interesting. Yeah, the Raiders are gonna win. Probably. I'm gonna say 5 or 6 games. That's what I'll say.
Okay, just would like to remind you that Gardner Minshew led a Colts team that has a much, much worse offense and a worse defense as well, one pass away from a playoff game.
Mm.
So keep that in mind when you're down talking Gardner Minshew. It is
Okay.
a completely new system, but this team can make some noise.
That's fair. One last thing. I want to go back in less than a year from now, come January, February. We'll see if the Raiders have 9 wins or if they have six, 5 or 6. We'll
We
see.
will.
Should we put a bet on it right now on camera?
Let's do a wager, baby.
What do you want to do? Should we do TBD or do you want to put some money on it right now?
Let's do a over under 7.5.
I'll take under easily.
Okay.
All right. We'll figure out
So
the financial details later.
yeah, financial is probably 5K. I feel like would be
5K, 5K.
see this
I know
guy's
you're a big. I know you're a big sports better guy. I was gonna say like maybe $20. You know how much money I lost in Vegas, dude? I can't do 5K. I don't think I've ever seen 5K.
yeah,
But
me
I'd be
too.
willing to do it. I'd be willing to do it because I'm very confident that they'll win under 7 games. Or is it under? They can win 7 games and I win, right?
So we'll do 6.5.
No, no, no. Don't change it now. You said 7.5. I took the under.
Okay.
So I'll take the under. I'll take they can win, yeah, 7 games.
Yeah,
I think they'll win 5 or 6, but I'm not gonna change the
we'll
bet.
figure out the financials later.
We'll figure it out. But anyway,
Um, but that's our AFC West video. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back with the NFC hopefully tomorrow so that we can bang it out before uh Friday's
I did.
Eagles Packers game. See you then. Peace.
Peace.